good morning, Northern Ohio Chevelle Club. Mark Meldrum. The rear spring videos seem to get a lot of views and comments, so you guys motivated me. Let's get on to the front end so we can level this car out for a nice cruiser. Now, if you remember, the back end's setting about 27 inches high, and I just measured, and I'm measuring from the lip down to the floor as my reference point. And now we're at 29 inches right now, and we're gonna try to get down to like 27 inches, or at least something a little bit lower so the car sets a little bit level. You probably hear my TV in the background watching the Cisco Kid. That's boy, I tell you, my father-in-law and I, we used to work out in his sign shop on the weekends, and he had these spaghetti westerns and westerns playing all day. So I don't know, just remembering, 30 years ago. So having fun, working out here in the garage. I'm getting my tools organized. This is going to be a big job. It's going to take 2 or 3 hours to do both sides, maybe more. Maybe it'll be all day, the way my back's feeling. But hey, let's get at it. All right, we'll just go over this real quickly, how we're going to do this, what the game plan is. So we're gonna drop the sway bar down, okay? And we are gonna remove the steering arm, okay? And we're gonna take the shock out. We're gonna take the disc brake off and hang that out of the way. And then we're gonna loosen up this this top nut here for the A-arm while we have the jack underneath the car. So, hey, right, easy peasy, right. These suspension components, while they're all brand new on this car, and they probably only have 5 or 6 miles on it, I'm sure they'll give me a headache getting it apart. But that's the basic thing we're going to do to get the spring out. All right, we're moving right along. We're only on the second episode of the Cisco Kid as we do this job here. And just a couple points. Like I said, I've got the sway bar hanging loose, okay? And I've got the disc brake hanging. I made a little handy dandy hook so I didn't put any stress on the tube there. So I got the brake caliper off, and I just loosened that up. I loosened the nut up there, take the pin out, cotter pin out, loosen the nut up, and then I know this hasn't been in there so long, so it doesn't take much. All I did was tap the top of it. Now leave the nut on for that, because you don't want to screw your threads up. You can get a new nut pretty easy, but it'd be harder to replace this whole arm here. So there we go. That's the easy part, okay? That goes quick. Now the harder part comes. We're gonna loosen this nut up. We got to have everything supported. Oh, I forgot to mention, got the shock out. Where'd the shock go? No, there it is. Got the shock out. So you simply got a nut on the top here and 2 bolts on the bottom here. All right. So, like I said, this spring's under a lot of tension. This is not a job for the meek and mild. I mean, we'll see how this goes. Stick with me. All right. So now, like we said, we're gonna remove the cotter key on this top retaining nut. Okay. 7/8 wrench, okay. Boy, I got the big boy out there. Got the snap-on wrench. Thank you, Rick Hurling. God bless you. Hope things are going well up in heaven. But man, some of his tools come in really handy. So thank you again. But we're gonna pop this with a hammer. Now, Bill Rose, you're probably having a fit because you're gonna scratch the paint on your suspension here. But what we want to do is we want the spring, which is under tension, to pop off of this joint here, okay? And it just needs a tap here, and it should pop down. Okay, it popped down. One of the rubbers went flying. I'm not sure where that went. I'm not sure where that came from. Oh, it came from over here. Over here. But we'll get that straightened out. And now comes for the tricky part, getting the spring out of there. Hopefully I don't need to get the spring compressor, which I can go through the bottom here and compress the spring. But from what I remember, these are small block springs. The big block springs, I definitely are going to have to get a spring compressor on to get them out of there. But the small block springs have a little less tension on them. Not small block, but I should say these are 6-cylinder springs. And they're not as tall, and I'll show you a comparison, but they should come out of there pretty darn easy once I get this situated. Here we go. Okay, now everything's lowered down. You know, I'm using my lift to lower the car up and down. But now I got it sitting on the jack stand, or the jack. I could have a jack stand there if I wanted to, because I'm going to use the lift to take the tension off. But we're going to go ahead and take this nut off. And then we are going to slowly raise the car up, and everything should fall apart nicely. Now, the nice thing about doing this is I'm going to be on the other side of the car, so if this spring decides to let loose, I'm not going to be near it. All right, there you go. Okay, you can see that the A-arm has dropped nicely down, and now the spring is relatively loose, and with a little muscle and prying, I should get it out of there. Okay, let's go. There you go. With this pry bar here, we're able to muscle that out of there, and the black spring is the small spring, or the 6-cylinder spring, and the bigger spring is the big block spring. Okay, so you can see quite a difference there in length. But now we're going to cut this down and try to get this car to set lower. All right, I wasn't kidding. I'm watching the Cisco Kid, and he's having a fight. He's whooping some butt. All right, we're still watching the Cisco Kid, and this is where we're going to measure the spring to have it cut. Now, I watched a video on this, and I posted the video. Seemed like a very reputable expert out there, and I hope to God he is right, because I really don't want to do this again. But basically, he's saying as you look at the coil spring, you're going to have a tight wind and a loose wind. Some of these are actually ground flat on one side, so that's how you can get top from bottom. So it's tight down here. So we got to put it up like this. It doesn't set exactly straight up and down. And I've already done this before on the bench. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure this, okay? And we are setting at about 17.5 inches tall. And I know that I want to drop my front end 2 inches. Now, mind you, this only works on Chevelles, okay, or other A bodies as far as their front end goes. So 2 inches drop is what I want, means 1 at the spring, okay? So 2 inches of drop, and I want to go from 29 to 27 to match the back end here. We're going to go 1 inch lower. So we've already measured this at 17.5, and then we're going to walk the tape measure around the spring until we get to 16.5 on the top, okay? And then I marked it. I don't know if you can see that little white mark there. That's where we are going to cut it with an abrasive wheel. Now, in the video, he said, don't take a torch and cut this. You don't want to put heat in this, because then you're going to heat treat the spring again, and you may get a different ride. So we're going to take an abrasive wheel. A saw is better, but I'm going to take an abrasive wheel and go very slowly and basically just cut that off. Okay? And we're going to put it back together, and fingers crossed, hopefully we've dropped 2 inches. Okay? 1 at the spring, 2. All right. The Cisco Kid's still on, so it didn't take me all that long to do one side. And this is the spring I cut out of there. Cut basically 1 coil out. And results are pretty good. Not exactly what I was shooting for, but we went from 29 inches to 27.5 inches, which is good because I don't have the other side done yet. And that's setting at 29. And once maybe that gets down a little level, once the car bounces around down the road a little bit, maybe it'll settle in at 27 inches. But nevertheless, even if it stays at 27.5 inches right now, I'm pretty happy. So there you go. We'll get the other side done. All right, the Cisco Kid's still on. So this job took a few hours, but we got her done. I had a few nagging issues with the shock mounts, and we got that taken care of. The sway bar didn't want to go on real nice and easy, so I struggled with that a little bit. But things I didn't talk about were torquing down your bolts and putting your cotter keys back in and all that good stuff. But the point of this was to get the car down to 27 inches. And I know I said I was at 27.5, but we went around the block, and sure enough, we're down at 27 inches now. So we're exactly where we want to be. Now, this thing needs to get to a front end alignment shop quick, because on the passenger side, I got a little rubbing on the front fender. I got a feeling the tires tilted too far forward, or I don't know what you call that. Toe in, toe out, camber, all that great stuff. Man, I'm going to miss Rick Hurling, because I could have taken it over his shop on a Sunday, and he would have put it on the machine and taken care of that. But I'm sure Weber Automotive will be able to straighten me out too. And hey, one more thing before I go. Gary Vondreska, hey, I hope you're feeling better. I hope this gives you something to watch while you're in the hospital. And get out. I hope you're out of there, because you don't need to catch COVID while you're in there. So take care. I heard you had a stroke. Hope you're feeling better. Hope you get back on your feet quick and recover quickly. So there you go. Mark Meldrum, Northern Ohio Chevelle Club. Have a great Sunday. Hope you enjoyed my videos this weekend. See ya!